Know the Source on One Radio Network. Well, if I knew how to run this thing. Yeah, you shouldn't put me behind the wheel. Very pleasant good evening to you. It's about a minute or so after 7 Central Daylight Time, and it's probably 10 o'clock at night in London if you're listening in London on OneRadioNetwork.com, OneRadioNetwork.com. If you're shy, all you have to do is email Patrick at OneRadioNetwork.com, Patrick at OneRadioNetwork.com, and I have a computer right in front of me. I'd like to introduce you Don and Carol Croft. They are the founders and the big mucky mucks at World Without Are you guys mucky mucks?
Yeah, we're mucky mucks.
You mucky mucks, okay.
I'm especially mucky, yeah.
They're the big mucky mucks at worldwithoutparasites.com. It is all about parasites and all about getting rid of parasites. They live in Idaho, and they won't even give them a landline. So you guys are on cell phones out there, man. Out in Southwest Google land, man. You're out there too, aren't you?
Well, we get online, no problem. We have a dish, satellite dish.
Okay,
and everybody else has phones around here, but when we tried to get one, we had a very hard time.
Yeah. Okay, now Don, your specialty is making devices that are called Zappers, right?
Yeah.
And Zappers are a special kind of electricity, very low voltage.
Yeah, very low.
And what is it, like 15 hertz?
Well, you're talking about the frequency, but the voltage is 5 milliamps, 5,000 of an amp.
Oh, that's a frequency is 15 hertz.
Yeah, the frequency is 15 cycles per second, approximately. Now, when you pulse that weak current onto your skin, a little tiny bit of it gets through the skin. 5 microamps, 5 millionths of an amp gets into the body. That's enough to destroy every pathogen.
Was this based on the work of, what was his name, Reich?
Oh, no, Wilhelm Reich he developed technology based on subtle energy. This is not electricity, although the two things always go together.
And this is 5 millivolts.
Oh, I'm talking about the amps. Yes, 5 millionths of an amp get into the body. That's just electricity.
And why don't the parasites like that? I mean, how can they possibly know what kind of energy is going around? But it's all energy.
Here's the deal. Well, okay, I'm just talking about ionization, which is electric current. If you look at the picture on our website, it shows a bunch of worms that are falling apart.
Yeah.
They're falling apart because when they're in the body, they're in colloidal suspension. But it's a positive charge. It's an unhealthy energy field caused by a deficit of ions. And they create that unhealthy field by excreting acidic material into the body. That's how bacteria, viruses, fungi, and worms all live in the body. They have to secrete acid in order to reduce the number of ions. And then they're in a healthy position for themselves. Go ahead.
Yeah. So let's see. I want to understand this because this is great stuff.
It's real simple.
Yeah, this is great stuff. So you have viruses, bacteria, fungus, and parasites.
Yeah.
They get in the body. We know that. And
they establish themselves.
And what they do is they emit a substance, and this substance allows them to live within the body because it creates an environment that they can live in, and otherwise they wouldn't be able to.
That's right, a slightly acidic environment.
Acidic.
Okay, the same thing happens in the atmosphere when you see smog.
Oh.
That's a slightly acidic environment in the atmosphere. That allows toxic particles to remain in suspension. This is the same principle that works for colloidal silver, only in the opposite way.
Oh, it allows. That's interesting. So the air, it allows the toxic thing because it has an acid, like acid rain.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, we were talking with some people on my radio show on KLBJ on Saturday, and they just got back from an autism conference, right? And they were talking about how amazing the impact of all this fungus in these young kids in their body, like an overgrowth of fungus, that they produce this propionic acid. That must be what you're talking about.
I don't understand that quite exactly what you're talking about, but
well, in other words, they know that the fungus in the kids produce propionic acid, and this propionic acid has been proven. They've given it to rats, and the rats do autistic behavior.
Okay. Well, all acids are harmful in the body.
All of them.
Yeah, all acids are. In fact, see, bears like secrete alcohol, formaldehyde, various kinds of other acids.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, and that's how they do their damage.
Ah.
And here's the deal. I know a lot of scientists, and most of them can't comprehend this simple concept of ionization. So they try to explain things in more complex ways that don't really make any sense.
Mm-hmm. Now, ionization, Don Croft, is that the same, or is that what's happening when you put this 15 hertz, 0.5 millivolts zapper?
Yeah.
That's what happens? You're ionizing the little boogers?
That's all that's happening. And the rest of our zapper, we charge $134 because we add a lot of other components to it. But if you get the $10 zapper from $10 zapper, you'll cure cancer, AIDS, arthritis, high blood pressure, diabetes, most diabetes, and just about every other kind of disease with that $10 zapper. And that's just the circuit. And that's what I was talking about.
But you guys
add promoting this.
So even folks buy a $10 zapper, they can still kill a lot of stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
That's great.
Yeah. The only difference in ours is we have some subtle energy components.
Sure.
That my wife and I developed.
Sure.
And
we'll talk about that tonight. Yeah, we'll talk about that tonight. Your main one is called the Terminator, right?
Yeah.
You got to love that name. I like that, G. You got to love that, man. We're talking
that was before the last Terminator movie came out. Terminator 3 was a good guy.
Right. We're talking with Don Croft, and his wife, Carol Croft, is there. And their website is worldwithoutparasites.com. And you can go on this website and have a wealth of information of how they do all this and how they got together. And Don builds them, and they really souped them up. You know, and this Terminator is kind of like the BMW, probably, of Zappers, because you have a lot of energy things here.
True.
Right? And that's why.
It's a best-selling Zapper. And it's sold by referral. We never advertise, and we don't lecture or anything. You know, no books.
And what's $134 if you really can do a lot of good, right?
Well, it's cheaper than an office visit for the MD.
One office visit. Now, with most things in this natural field, we're always careful to say, well, this doesn't do this doesn't do this. This really helps the body, to do this. But in your case, the zapper really does zap them? I mean, it really does get them?
It sounds traumatic, but it's a very gentle process, and it's impossible to do any harm with a battery-powered zapper. It's impossible to do any harm with it.
Right.
Otherwise, I'd be in prison. I've been doing this 12 years.
Yeah.
I've never hurt anybody with it.
So when the zapper, and this technology goes way back, I mean, didn't Dr. Clark talk about this in the 50s?
Dr. Clark put together a whole bunch of existing material and kind of put her name on it. I met the guy that invented that device. He invented it back in the 70s.
What was his name?
His name was Cliff Harrelson.
Uh-huh.
He's still around. He's in Ashland, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
She put her name on a whole bunch of other people's work. I've tried to simplify the approach because there's a whole lot of fake science connected with this. I think that has really slowed down the dissemination of this simple technology.
Because there are a lot of charlatans out there just putting stuff out that doesn't work?
Yeah, I think every zapper works fine. I'll tell you what, the $10 zapper is better than most of the rest because it's simple.
No kidding.
No bells and whistles.
No. And what's that one called in case people can't afford the $134?
Okay, $10zapper.com.
You got to love that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you know who makes those is our parts supplier. The guy that makes our parts for us.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that great? Well, that's a great thing when you got something $10 and then it'll really help people. Now, when viruses, does it affect viruses, bacteria, fungus, everything?
Yeah, it destroys. Well, here's the thing: if you have a bacterial infection, it's cured within 20 minutes. All the bacteria in the body is dead within a few minutes. Now, a virus might take up to 3 weeks to